So, I'm here to discuss whether or not Imperator in 2024 is actually worth your time to buy and to actually, possibly get friends with. Alright, let's start off. We'll be going over all the basic mechanics to get you guys the general gist of it. We'll start off with government. Ideas are not overly interesting. There's nothing here that will greatly change the way you play the game or anything like that. They offer some substantial buffs, but in actuality, they're just stats. This is one of the more boring aspects of the game. These can be very impactful. You can literally completely change your religion, by the way. That's actually kind of cool. Every major nation gets something called a heritage, which is a boon. Unfortunately for Rome, their navy is just objectively shit. There's not much to be done about that, so is what it is. Administration. So the game divides itself up into major regions. So Magna Graecia. I'm trying to add an accent. We'll just call it. Okay, I give up. So basically, there's major regions, and then within those major regions, there's mini regions, and these mini regions can, well, have all these cool little buffs. Be careful. They can rebel against you, and so you gotta watch out for that, of course. Actually, I really enjoy this system. Like, they rebel, and they're not the biggest threat in the world. You can generally crush them with minimal effort. I'll discuss provincial. I'll discuss food later and how that works. Government. Rome has its own unique thing where you can pass all your laws and stuff. So this is cool and all that, but let's be real here. We don't care about any of that. Ooh, my. Okay, let's get into the first major gripe of this game. So the bigger your country is, the more families you'll have, and the more families you have, they'll each want a sort of minimum expected amount of positions, and it becomes really annoying once you're so massive because they want so many positions. They keep dropping dead, and so you have to constantly assign them to positions. An automated system, if you take into consideration literally the rest of the game, I'll go over that a bit more again later. An automated system to assign a basically minimum amount to the families that want a position would be somewhat nice. Laws, the only ones that are particularly important are the military reform ones. Everything else is more or less just a stat gain. But this can literally, these two can completely alter the entire way you play the game because it lets you go from a levy system to a standing army, which is obviously good. Economy, boring. Wow, you click this, taxes go up. You click that, it go down. Interesting. Okay, so this is another fun mechanic. So you can, well, fun, but stat increase, but it's a fun stat increase. It allows for a lot of roleplay. So basically, you'll have a bunch of religious sites, and you can decide what deity those sites specifically worship. And then you can select buffs. They come with a stability cost, so there is a price to this. And so you have to be a bit careful about that, because if your stability gets too low, fucking unrest out the ass. I mean, everything up here is pretty standard. I'll go over this a bit later. This is normal, this is normal, this is normal. Don't be an asshole. But yeah, the only thing that I'll really need to go over is this, of course. Okay. And then within certain holy sites, well, deities, these are deities, these are holy sites. I probably should have been a bit more specific there, my bad. But you can basically you can build like religious temples in various locations. It's gonna sound a bit embarrassing, but I forgot how to Forgot how to do it, but you could just capture them, so that doesn't really matter. Big whoop. Oh yeah, you could also desecrate them. Wouldn't recommend that, but yeah. And then we have Hellenic, which also comes with its own stat increase, so you could decide, okay, do I want to keep this religion? Do I want to go to another one? Basically, it's just a little bit of extra gameplay. Culture is actually where it gets kind of fun, because in this game, compared to most Paradox games, there's actual pops. I believe each pop is worth 500 people, if I'm not mistaken, because that's how much they're worth in terms of soldiers. So now we're gonna go back to the food. So each individual province is part of an overall network. Within that network, you can have specific settlements that are producing food. You can upgrade them to metropolises, this and that. But the most important thing is you can have this type of settlement will produce food. That food will contribute to the overall provincial food level. Provincial food means your people don't starve. If your people start starving, you will rapidly lose population. So you always want to be on top of that, which adds a little bit of something to do rather than, oh shit, my province has been sieged. Oh no. In this game, when your province gets sieged, you fucking pay for it. You lose population. And population, let me show you a pop growth speed. So 0.17%. That is years of in-game time to get even one pop. So you want to protect your population from hunger, from war, from endless number of things. But what you want to do is you want to siege. You could do mass sieges and just fucking take as many enemy pops as slaves. Slaves, we love the money. We love the money. Slavery is great for business. Phenomenal for business. Oh, I got off track. My bad. So basically, you can just decide, what do I want to do with these people? You could get them to tribesmen, which basically says get the hell out of the country. You could demote them to, slowly over time, demote them to slaves. You can make them citizens. But when you make a culture group an official citizen, it comes with a downside, is it lowers your overall cultural happiness. You can just revoke it later though, so don't worry too much about that. And these citizens become soldiers. They can become official soldiers. And then within decisions, you can also make them a bit happier. You know, you can increase assimilation, blah, blah, blah. But you really just want to click this and be like, you know, my people could actually use this territory. And then your people will move there and start growing there. And eventually, slowly over time, overtake them and have all the fun stuff. Trade overview. So each individual thing you can trade, so all of this, whenever there's a surplus, you'll just gain a buff. It's a nice little thing. Nothing too complex. Again, you could just click this and just it handles it automatically. You'll just accept all the trade deals that give you money. Oh yeah, there's also, you could click this for political power. It's something extra to spend your political power on. You could just get more build slots, population capacity, this and that. You know, governor policies. I already went over that actually. Oopsie. So this, if you want to manually control and get specific buffs, you just click the province and click import. Not all provinces have it though, so be a bit careful about that. Now let's get to the real meat and potatoes. Military. So, unlike most Paradox games, your army doesn't walk into a region with literally zero food and supplies, because that was entertaining. Yeah, so your armies come with supplies, and they'll also eat off of the land itself. So if your people overtake a province, so right now, what's a good one? Okay, so if my army were to move here, they will start eating through their supplies. Until this reaches 0, your people have food. So, yeah. Just get a supply train. Mind you, supply trains don't have any combat ability, so you want to make sure you have a balance between all of this. While we're on the subject, each army, you can make it all, well, once you get standing armies, you can make this all different. You can design different compositions that specialize in different things. For example, in one of my other games, I was playing Rome, and I started to fight cavalry, like high amounts of like Mongolian or whatever cavalry, and my legionnaire heavy armor focused infantry was getting fucking decimated. It was a slaughter until I switched up the unit type I was sending over, and I sent, instead of heavy infantry, I sent spearmen. And obviously my spearmen performed significantly better than my soldiers, so that's cool. Ooh, so consequences. Unlike most Paradox games, you have a really low amount of manpower. You don't suddenly go from, wow, I have 0 men, to, wow, 5 years later, I have 50,000. No. In this game, even when I controlled, like, here, all of Italy, all of this, I was only gaining, I believe, like 2.5k, 3k men a month. Mind you, that's a lot, but, like, if you were EU4 or something like that doing that, you'd be insane. All of this and Greece, you'd be, like, easily, like, 15,000 men. Well, assuming you're optimized for it slightly, but I don't know. Drill, same thing. It's always been in a Paradox game. Your army get better. Subunits have individual experience levels. So, yeah. What else? Standard embarkation. That's fine. Don't click that button. Force marches, same as always. Now, what you can do with this is you can build a road. Road means your soldiers are just more effective at moving. That's all that really does. Also, you have something called enslavement efficiency. It can be increased by doing this. I'll go over this in a second, but enslavement efficiency basically says how much of a population, when you finish sieging, will you actually take as slave labor. Now, thank God, this game does something that all Paradox games should have. It adds an AI system, an automatic system to handle certain things. So, if you are, say, fighting a 4-front war, you're fighting in Spain, you're fighting in Greece, you're fighting over there, and you're fighting over here. You're like, okay, so I can't handle all of this myself. It's just too much. So what you do is you set this guy to defend, and they won't go attacking any enemy into enemy territory. They'll focus on defending and retaking. So, then instead, you could return all of your effort to, say, over here. Meaning, that region's secure. EU4 would be a lot cooler if it worked like that. Military experience. So, as your soldiers fight, bleed, die, they'll gain experience. Within that experience, especially once you de-raise them, you can spend that experience to get traditions. And these are just nice little stat increases and things like that. And now these are culture specific. So you may ask, how do I get these other traditions? What you do is you go back to culture again, and you'd have to raise them to nobility. Now, for whatever reason, even if you've reduced them to slaves again after you've promoted them, you get to keep the tradition. So, you know, you kind of don't have to care all too much, but oh yeah, this is when you can raise standing armies. In this game, there's also another consequence. If your army gets absolutely, unequivocally fucking annihilated, you'll actually lose pops, like actual population. Which means, again, avoid taking insanely stupid battles, and your people will be cooler. Mercenaries, pretty standard affair. They can betray you. Diplomacy, standard Paradox affair. Technology is somewhat unique, where it's divided into 4 different things. You have civic, military, blah, 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 religious. And they all do different things. But they all share an overall technological point system. So when these guys finish researching finish their progress, they will just add a point to this. That's all it is. nobles generate more, so, you know, if you want more nobles, you just... Oh, haven't even gone over the buildings. So, obviously, these buildings come with various stat effects, increases manpower here, taxes here. They also can increase the desired ratio of specific groups. So if you want more nobles in your capital, or anywhere, you just build this building right here. Nope, not this. I am so sorry. You build a building. I just had it. Where did it go? Oh wait, no, it is that build. I don't want to talk about it. Yeah, you just build this building and then you're good. That's all you gotta do. What else? Anything big? Ah, I forgot. So this shares sort of a halfway system with CK, where the characters are important, very important, but they're not so unimportant. So there's various things, popularity affects, you know, how much the people love them. Corruption means they're corrupt. They want a little bit more off the top, you know, just a little bit more. Within that, they have their own amount of wealth, which they can use for various things, including fucking you over, but here's the most important stat. Loyalty. Loyalty means they'll follow your orders, do whatever you want, and they'll just generally obey you. All good. Also, corruption means a shit ton of unrest. But siphoning funds, you motherfucker. But low loyalty means they'll do everything in their power to undermine you, basically. And if they're head of an army, it actually is somewhat of a fun system where a disloyal general will actually just ignore whatever you say and do their own thing. I find that kind of fun, as it does mimic really well what Roman generals would actually do. They would kind of just go off and go on their own little crusades. I mean, why not? The mission system is fun. It adds gameplay and can, I wouldn't say completely alter the game, but it does add a lot of strength to you, and it provides something, a set of guidelines. So one of my goals would be, say, destroy the Etruscans. We'll go with that. So I destroy the Etruscans, and then I click this button. Basically, what it'll do is it'll give me the option to convert a certain number of pops in one of these cities to Roman, which means now I have a strong cultural presence in that region. But I've gone over all the basic things, this and that. Let's bring it down to its core. Is this game actually genuinely worth your time to play? I would say yes. It has the right combination of risk. Wars are actually dangerous and deadly instead of, say, EU4, where it's just like, oh, I was at war for 10, 15 years. 4 years later, we're fine. We got all our manpower back. All the boys are home. This game, that's not going to happen. You could lose dozens to hundreds of pops in massive wars, crippling your country. But so you can also cripple the enemy. It allows for, in my opinion, actually an incredibly fun amount of gameplay. And there's the control you can gain over your unit's composition, allowing you to specialize against certain foes. If you know you're fighting the Greeks, for example, the AI will have a preference for spearmen. Sorry, that's from Invictus. Spearmen aren't in the base game. I am sorry. I don't know why I said spearmen earlier. Invictus is basically one of the core mods for this game anyway, so if you're gonna play it, you might as well run that too. So you could decide, okay, I'm fighting Greeks. What is actually good against, again, we'll say spearmen just for, no, okay, we'll say they're gonna be a light infantry focused army. What is good against light infantry? You'd look here and you see, okay, our chariots do quite well into light infantry. They appear to do quite well. Okay, let's go bring out the chariots. And then you can create an army to specialize fight these regions. Again, that is just any amount of control you can give the player without it being unnecessarily complex is good. It is always good to give the player choices in anything they want to do. But again, Yes, I would say this game, if it's on sale, never buy it full price. If this game is on sale, you get it for like $10, get a couple friends, all get together, have some fun. I definitely say this game is genuinely worth your time and effort. And I'd say it's actually an incredibly solid Paradox game that just unfortunately had its potential completely shattered.